You know, Dakar, they say the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yes, they do.
And we've got two runners at 2-0 tonight, so one of them's going to fall.
One of them's gonna fall on their hiney. It sure seems that way.
And we've got four moon objectives. This is great. Anyways, I'm Scar. I'm joined in the booth by Dakar, and we've got Pyre restreaming and Sheep Launcher tracking. This is Rhybon versus Vitasia, and we're due to start soon, TM.
Yep, it's looking like it's gonna be an exciting one. We've got Donkey Kong Cecil to start here, and well, that can be interesting if you don't have a black sword and you have the wrong starting partner.
Yeah, at least, hey, Black Sword's tier 3. It probably for sale in the overworld. If you're truly desperate, you can go shopping.
Yeah, I mean it's not guaranteed on the overworld, but it statistically is likely.
So what's in our changing room tonight? You got any predictions?
I mean, I feel like I've had a couple of these Cecil hero seeds, and I've always been predicting something horrible in the change room, and it's always disappointing. So I think it's gonna just be another pretty simple one. That's my guess.
That's fair. We can all cross our fingers for Wyverns with Globe 199, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to be like guards.
Yeah, I mean, I would be up for something sort of, still a little threatening, but not like tremendously rude. Or just long. All gauntlet is always fun.
Yeah, and all gauntlet would probably break a slingshot on your anchor, which is a shame.
Yes, I think our odds of seeing a slingshot on our anchor today are not very high, but they're higher with a Cecil hero than they are with any other. So you could just, put ordeals off until you've full cleared the moon, and then not worry about the all gauntlet X.
Yeah, just have get a party that's perfect for clearing the sea without a Cecil, and then just have a good anchor at the end of the game.
It's questionable strategy. Yeah, or off. Look forward to finding out who our partner is.
Well, that's one where we don't really care what sword we have. Sid will carry us through the early game. I love Sid.
Yeah, he will. Also a Leviathan Orb and an Evil Wall.
Yeah, that's not the rudest spot for Evil Wall, unfortunate.
Yeah, you're usually pretty happy to see it there. Not a very punchy spot.
Yeah, and it's also on the slower side. You can outspeed it with like, I'm pretty sure by the time we get there we'll be outspeeding it. It'll be like RA 413 or something.
Yep, chat pointing out that the starting Leviathan summon probably means Rydia is behind Giant. Both going to the front of the Watery Pass. Pretty popular starting loot location on these flags.
Yeah, the min tier 3 brings it pretty much on par with Eblin. Like, you're a little more likely to get your 6 out of Eblin still, but because it's, the weights off of tier 1s and tier 2s are redistributed.
Yeah, a little disappointing today, though. We didn't really see much to get us started there.
Yeah, this is the type of loot that usually leads me to looting both Watery Pass and Eblin anyways, but I'm sure our Rhybon and Vitasia are top runners. I'm sure they'll make two. Well, there's a crystal sword. I'm eating my word. Or crystal, not sword, ring. I'm eating my words.
I think that was actually a crystal armor. unless I misread it. But an Earth Hammer and a Rune Axe are the real prizes back here.
Oh, and a black sword in the Damsian basement.
Headband, also a nice find. Asia opting not to peek the waterfall or launch the hovercraft just yet.
I suppose with a black sword, he's ready to rock and roll. He didn't loot the back of Watery, so his Sid has a hand axe.
That is not the dream, but I imagine he'll do a bit of looting here in Antline to try to get another shot at a Sid weapon. Archer bow is, I guess, a Sid weapon if we have arrows.
He's looting the back, but not the Carter, for shame.
It's always something really good until it's not.
That Drain Sword could prove useful later, assuming we don't get one off of the Sineki roll when our Dark Knight becomes a Paladin.
Certainly could. We saw, I think it was Dimps in the waterfall, and Earth Hammer is the last chest there for Vitasia is a really good find for him. Pour him in a bonus round on Hobbs.
Also something a runner particularly enjoys getting out of the way immediately.
Absolutely. And getting that first white mage always feels good because you're out of the woods on having one of those white mageless seeds. Windharp in Antlion could be exciting for chat. Maybe we'll get some music.
I mean, we're all hoping that it has the hook and that this is a hook route.
Well, yeah, I mean, that just goes without saying. How do you feel about Antlion first versus Hobbs first?
Oh, I always do Hobbs first. I like having a third character in the party.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to as well. I think maybe here Vitasia deviated from that because he hadn't found the Sid weapon yet and wanted to open more boxes first.
Yeah, I can see that. That's enough to justify doing the weird Antlion first play.
Rhybon choosing to do the Antlion's Nest and collect his Twin Heart before checking that demist, so we still don't know what, if anything, Rydia's mom is holding today.
Yeah, I mean, the Antlion's on the way from Hobbs to Mist. This makes sense.
Yep, it's efficient routing. Probably not gonna forget finding a demist that early, and Antlion's not a very long chuck.
Well, there's the hook.
Not at the bottom of Cave Magnus like we were hoping, but that still is a promising development.
What'll be interesting is who goes down to check the character first.
Yeah, I mean, that is always a really tricky decision because it is a big investment of time, and if it turns out to be a dupe or something, it feels bad. On the other hand, if you put it off and then you really need that character to have levels to get through the hook route, that feels bad too.
Yeah, with Sid and a white mage already, they probably won't need it for the rest of the overworld, at least.
Yeah, that is fair, but there are definitely scenarios where, like, it's a Palom and you want to get Quake for the hook route, and getting as much XP as you can ahead of time helps.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The punish, whoever gets punished for not taking the hook route character won't feel the punish until later.
That is likely true, although, perhaps a very rude boss at the Baronin 2 or back attack spot could shake things up.
Yeah, back attack Val, since we already have a hook, and if that's our intended underground access, Val is on the table.
Absolutely, and that's always unpleasant when the choice is to get through that or keep your Donkey Kong Cecil. So right here at the Fabul Defense, I think is going to be good for Rhybon because he's the only one that picked up that rune axe.
Yeah, he's gonna get through this quicker. He might not even have to life lock her like Vitasia's attempting.
Yup. Also finds life potions tucked away in Kaipo. It's a bit of an investment of time in this shopping, but that's a decent payoff.
Oh, and that's not behind the giant. There's
Nope.
Rydia in the Kaipo bed. Sand Ruby has value now.
Well, I guess the Sand Ruby must be buried behind a chain behind the moon then.
I mean, we're going to the moon anyways, right? And you can always do the giant last if you truly want a Rydia in your party.
That is true. Vitasia executing the lifelock strategy very well here, but it is a little time consuming when you don't have the damage output. Nice little crit there from Sid finishes her off though.
And there is no fading for Bull today. That's the Darkness Crystal. Our runners are now a couple key items from Go mode.
Yeah, that that makes the seed one of those wide open seeds where with this set of objectives, you might even get some consideration about whether you do the grind and the moon before you go down the hook route.
Yeah, it's definitely worth trying. I think if they pick up some good, I mean, they've got a crystal ring and samurai armor. They've got some good heavy armor. They could do cover strats and have a decent shot at the grind for Mac Giants at least.
Yep. Whether it'll be fast, I think depends on what kind of additional characters and gear we can find on the overworld here.
Yeah, I suppose now the onus for going down the hook route and look at that one shot. He set up the life lock just to be safe and didn't need it.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense with the low accuracy on the rune axe. A low roll is definitely possible there.
Yeah, if he didn't wait, he would have got a different RNG value and he would have had a longer time.
Exactly right. Vitasia looks like he's decided it's time to launch the hovercraft, so maybe he is going to go down and peek that character and boss.
Well, there's also the shop. If Mac Giants have been very popular, so if you're going into a seed thinking that Mac Giants are probably going to be on the table, the hook can sell ogre axes, poison axes, black belts, things that are very useful for your grind.
Yeah, it is a very good shop, and the loot down there is fine too if you can avoid that spooky Staleman chest.
Yeah, I think the Staleman is still the worst monster in a box in the game. Just like its power relative to where it is.
Yeah, and it just isn't very rewarding either in terms of like the typical loot you get from it and the low XP.
Yeah, I think with T Pro, the monster boxes are quite under incentivized. It is very rare that you see runners taking them early.
Poison axes are available. Not necessarily your first choice, but good to see nonetheless.
Yeah, the Poison X, it'll do.
Meanwhile, Rhybon showing us an exploding ball mob.
Ooh, Rosa.
And some guards, not too threatening.
Yeah, if the Moon character isn't a duplicate, you could theoretically skip Baronet.
That is very true. Not a location we see get faded very often, but you know, if you walk in there and you see Golbez at the first spot or a couple of blue robes, definitely consider it.
Yeah, especially if you like see that it's for an Edward, like, and you don't have the spoon.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Ooh, there's crystal armor. Crystal ring, crystal armor. That's armor enough for pretty much anything.
Yeah, certainly. Aside from the Zeus gauntlet, it's hard to get much better Machin taking gear than that.
Oh, but Vitasia doesn't have the crystal ring because it was in the back of Watery.
That is a good point from chat, yeah. Their tracker sheep launcher also pointing out Rhybon's Porum has learned exit, which will make this hook dive a little more efficient when he goes down there. Now the big reveal on the boss. And it is just Antlion.
Yeah, very doable if you have a dancing dagger. Rhybon doesn't, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a little spooky, but I think after one attack with the bow, you can switch to that rune axe. Might need to use some cure potions to be safe, though. Especially with low rolls like that.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for. But he does, it looks like he bought some cure too, so he should be through this. It'll be a little slow, but he'll be through.
Yep. And Vitasia, looking to fill out his party, is launching the whale.
Oh, Sid's in the party. Sid's here, Elvin. He's just not on screen.
Rhybon gets through, has his paladin. Who do you call here on the lunar dais today, Scar?
Kane. The Dragoon would be nice, and we already have 2 white mages, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of feel like a lunar ninja maybe today. Yep, you called it.
I mean, jumping with a poison axe is pretty solid, even if he's a level 10 Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's gonna get the. Oh, we're peeking something. Okay, Bahamut. Ah, the shop. Oh, illusions here would be nice though.
Yeah, they would be. It's an interesting shop check. I have basically never been checking this shop. Tier 3s are actually a decent find, but he decides not at the moment.
Yeah, good to keep in mind. They would have been. It would have been nice to see him pick up a couple in case there was like D-lunars on the ordeals that he hasn't scouted. He won't be punished for not buying them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he picked up one already in Antlion, so it's not. The first one is kind of the most important, and it's nice to have on the Z fight for whoever needs that counter nuke, and then when you have white mages, the rest after that are take on diminishing importance.
And now, Rhybon's going to Baron Inn. Gonna see maybe a duplicate character.
Yeah, the routing has been kind of interesting. Rhybon sort of doing the more traditional overworld routing, and Vitasia prioritizing those character checks.
Palom. Now that's a character to replace Sid eventually.
Yeah, I mean, having the Darkness Crystal in hand definitely makes Palom interesting as a potential slingshot target. I get a fairly rude boss at the second spot here, but I think we should be okay.
Yeah, Rhybon moved his crystal ring to Cecil, so at worst, this is at like RA 13, right? Because the highest I can roll is 7, and Cecil's at least at 13 agility here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slow buy again, and a well-armored Cecil as well. Another summon orb from a key item check. Be an interesting decision point for Rhybon here in a minute. Decide whether to chase that heart, decide whether to try to set up a grind or to just go down the hook route.
He's doing some extra shopping. And I'm thinking it's for silk webs, which would imply to me he might be going for a grind here.
Yeah, the shopping definitely could be indicative of a grind, although silk web's good to find in the long run, whether you're grinding early or late.
Oh yeah, especially since with all but that twin harp cleared, this is most likely a hook route.
Yes, and he does not yet know that the boss is relatively easy.
Yeah, and we've seen DKC in the Evil Wall, so there's not much of the usual suspects left to turn you away.
Mm-hmm. Baigan too. It's definitely the type of hook route where, maybe it encourages you to go down there. There's still a risk you find something like D-Lunars at that first spot that turns out to be a bit rude, but we've got Dragon Resist too.
Yeah, there's a lot kind of yelling at us to just gun this hook route.
Yeah, there is that, but on the other hand, like we talked about earlier, there's all the moon objectives. So you kind of want to get up there as soon as you can, and the way to do that is to grind. This antlion fight is looking a little spookier for Vitasia here.
Which is surprising. I saw he looted a dancing dagger in Watery Pass. He could have just hopped in the back row and used that. Or not Watery Pass, in Eblin Cave.
Yeah, I didn't spot it in his inventory right now. Maybe it's on one of his other characters?
Maybe. Or he sold it, perhaps?
Yeah, well, unfortunate wipe there. Just, kind of stuck with a front row poison axe or green sword Cecil is not a recipe for success in the changing room. Curious what Rhybon's next move here. It looks like maybe he's going to go into Eblin. This could be a play to set up a slingshot and get a little more experience on the party pre-grind, or maybe he just wants a little more loot before he fights those guards.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's setting up a sling for the guards.
Could be. Finds the Mad Ogre chest first, which is probably what he wanted to find. A little bit of a tension here between wanting to Zerk up Cecil to kill the ogres, but also wanting to keep people alive. That fact that he's choosing the Zerk route makes me think Slingshot setup.
Yeah, slingshot setup and get the boys some more strength multipliers for the grind.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but Porum being down here is not quite ideal. Not sad to have already arrows in our pocket either.
And a strength ring.
Crystal Shield and Strength Ring are also good pickups, so...
Looks like Rhybon's happy with that.
Yeah, are we just gonna go straight into a Baron Manip here? Sure looks like it.
Yeah, unfortunate that Porum doesn't have Blink, but the Cecil probably is tanky enough that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't following his shopping super closely, but if he has Cure 2s, I think he's fine. The punches are not going to be like 1 damage, but they should be like, I want to say in the sort of capping out around 200, 300.
He did buy Cure 2s. They were for sale in Baron, actually.
Yeah.
If he felt he needed more, he could have grabbed more right here.
I think he's pretty well set up for this. And for what it's worth, with these objectives, I think I would probably be making the same play.
Yeah, it's good play, and Vitasia going to the other side of Evelyn Tower to set up his slingshots and his grind. I wonder if the item will be any better from this chest.
A little bit more difficult of a chest to get through with this particular party configuration.
Yeah, it looks like the Jumpin' Cane has it though. So long as Cecil stays at a HP level where he covers.
Yeah, it should be fine. Meanwhile, it looks like Rhybon has found his fight, and so he is launching the giant.
And Charmed Porum getting a life glitch. I love that.
That is beautiful.
Do you know if a Charmed character can get... Oh, looks like the answer is yes. A Charmed character can get more than 1 life glitch. That's really cool.
I did not know that. You learn new things every seed.
I'm not sure Vitasia was planning for that, but it is fortuitous for sure.
Now, he's getting experience on everyone, which makes me wonder if he is looking to do his grind now after all.
and a white shirt. Yo, that's a good item.
That is certainly a good item for this team. And never sad to see it with one white mage, let alone two.
I'm happy to see it when my best white mage is Cecil. It's a good item.
It is very strong. Rhybon's grind off to a good start here, and Vitasia showing us the Steelman's Skull Chest.
Oh, Rhybon's bringing up Rosa mid-grind there. Oh, Rosa and Pal. Was he already done his grind? Or do you think he's bringing them up to have more actors to throw potions with?
Well, unless this is just a mini grind, which would be surprising, he's not done. It could just be more people to get a, a little bit better rhythm. I could also see bringing the Rosa up to set up slow, since she has that as part of her starting kit. Yeah, my guess, we should ask him at the end, but my guess is he's just a little bit nervous about some of those high roll hits on Cecil and wants the extra potion throwers.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, really, 918 HP Cecil is cutting it kind of close, I think. If he had even just 200 more HP, I'd be a lot less worried about him, but it makes sense to err to the side of caution here.
Yeah, and this is one of the great things about the Mac Giant grind. There's because the specific power you need is equipment and not spells, you can do it at some pretty atrociously low levels and get away with it.
Yeah, there are certainly a lot more variations in how you execute it and what, different ways to set your party up to be able to do it than there are for a lot of the other grinds. Guessing Rhybon is also counting damage on the Searcher, since he doesn't have a way to stop it, and Sid, although the Earth Hammer is nice, is not gonna one-shot it.
Oh, has he been triggering the counter with things other than his floor rages?
Not very much. One of the issues with Sid 2 here is that a big crit with the Earth Hammer could end your grind early if you're not careful, so probably don't want to be hitting it with him, but maybe chipping away with Cecil would help. Now we see Vitasia looks like he's setting the grind up as well, but he doesn't have the slingshot set up.
He also doesn't have a Palom.
Yeah, I can't remember if he's even done Baron Inn.
You know, me neither. And I mean, this is one of the cases where you can mostly get away with trying to fade it.
Our tracker sheep launcher points out he has not. Interesting that he wouldn't even peek the character.
I suppose, I'm guessing this is just a party comp he generally likes. You know, 3 Zerkers and 2 White Mages is pretty comfy most of the time.
It's definitely a solid comp. You know, but with 2 potential Black Mages on the table, at least I would check it.
So without a slingshot, do you think Vitasia's gonna do the full grind to white and white? Or is he gonna get like just a cure 4 on Rosas, who has the power to clear the moon and hope that has the rest of his EXP?
That's a tricky decision. I think if I was going to guess, I would say he doesn't go all the way to white, just because you know you're going to get a lot of experience, especially if you just do the giant now, you're likely to get a lot. Whether or not white is worth the extra grind depends a lot on who the bosses are, which makes it kind of a gamble either way. Alright, and Rhybon is done with his grind. Nice little Earth Hammer hit to finish it off. Precisely getting those, I think, 8+8 Mac Giants to sling both Palom and Rosa to big spells. Being at Nuke White at around the 4130 mark, very efficient early grind for Rhybon.
Yeah, there's not much that can stand in his way at this point. Will the rest of the objective XP get his Porum to Cure 4?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it may depend on whether you run into any split XP bosses in some of the juicier spots, like the Giant and the Ribbon Room. Rhybon is at least going to peek the Giant boss now. If he really doesn't like it, he can always change his mind and come back later.
Answering question in chat. The last arm can no longer drop a crystal sword on T Pro. One of the changes in 4.6 was to remove the tier 8 items from the loot pools of everything that it isn't the LST and Cave Bahamut. And the Zonk reward in Cave Bahamut.
Yep, definitely a little added reward for clearing those more difficult locations.
Honestly, I think it's a bit of a buff to the characters not named Cecil, because it was always kind of annoying to clear Eblin without a Cecil and get, like, X-Cowl, Crystal Sword, X-Cowl that
Oh, for sure.
weren't able to use.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things on this flag set is how often we've seen Cecil used in more of his sort of tank role than a damage dealer.
Oh, come on, Ogopogo.
The D-Lunar's not a huge issue here. Probably gonna have to resort to Lunar Frogs.
Yeah. It looks like he's setting them up now. Already casting the wall.
And I like getting some damage in the meantime. That'll make cleaning them up faster later. Vitasia's got a good rhythm going on these Giants too. He may be able to kill them slightly faster with the extra levels he has and the additional, I guess, Giant killing character. But he may also have to do more if he wants to get as much experience.
Yeah, but at least he doesn't need as much experience. So him having to get a little more is a little offset by a lower requirement.
Yep, that's a good point. Yeah, frogs it is on Rhybon's side. Didn't have to deal with the sort of one frog situation or anything like that.
Yeah, when each of the Lunars has 50,000 hit points, you don't want to mess around with taking a bunch of extra counters.
Yeah, you know, it's probably okay at this spot if you just sort of, you know, trigger the script correctly so they don't get the walls up and then focus down the one that isn't a toad first. Then you won't get as many extra counters that way. Also, Sheep Launcher pointing out Rhybon is casting white. This is definitely one of those bosses where getting to white pays off.
Yeah, if Vitasia doesn't get to white, it'll take him an extra couple minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it still won't be too bad taking the toads down with just melee hits, but slight time loss probably. Oh, that's another very whiteable boss.
And that's a drain sword on.
Yeah, slight punish there for the drain sword on Cecil, but we'll be okay.
And Rhybon has completed the Giant of Babel.
Under 50 minutes, and we have the giant done. Just a dupe Horum at the giant today.
Giant's a perfect spot for a dupe, because you're not changing your party after getting that much XP, usually.
Yeah, I mean, I have had scenes where I've taken the giant character. I don't think on these flags, but I have done that before. Vitasia's grind getting a little spooky there with Cecil and critical HP and Sid going down, but I think yeah, with the giant going down, we've stabilized. Find out what we have in cave value. A lot of the rudest things are already off the table, but we still have Ogo Pogo. We still have the old gauntlet.
Baron guards. We don't know which guard its variant is on the hook route.
And it's a blue robe. It is the old gauntlet, which you like second grind today.
No. First grind is usually enough.
Gauntlet here is not super dangerous, certainly not at these levels. Vitasia gets done with his grind, 790,000 experience, so he definitely killed quite a few more giants than Rhybon did.
Looks like he was gunning for Cure 4 on Horum. And look, Ogre Axes! Those would have been nice, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It's always sad seeing red giants on screen and no way to cast a summon.
Yeah, the red giant fight can actually be the scariest in this gauntlet, depending on your party composition, just because if people start going down, the emission makes it hard to life them back up.
But hey, um, that drain sword coming in useful because the red giants are in fact giants, and the drain sword is effective against giants.
Yeah. Weak, also effective against giants. See how Vitasia approaches this D-Lunar's fight. I imagine he'll also do the Lunar Frog strategy. And there is white on Forum for Rhybon.
Yeah, right before the last fight.
Yep, the other potentially scary for certain parties fight in this gauntlet. But we will make short work of it. And 2 frogs for Vitasia, so we're well on our way to completing the giant on his side as well.
Yeah, and with white and Cure 4, he's probably well equipped spell-wise to damage them.
And it's a double in K value today with the Luca key. So that puts us to needing only one more objective for Rhybon, and he'll be in go mode.
Yeah, I think he'll get it from the last objective moon altar he completes.
Do you think that will be the Ribbon Room or the Crystal Sword altar?
I have no idea. Like, he doesn't have the pass, and it can't, and neither of them can put him directly into go mode. And he can't get to 10 off of 1, and he doesn't need the XP anymore. It's kind of a pick your poison deal.
Yeah, I mean, if you already had it in your mind that you're only going to do those 2 spots, then I think you would probably want to do the Ribbon Room first to avoid sort of walking the path to the Crystal Sword altar twice. But the routing works out better if you do the Crystal Sword altar first, if you're also going to clear out the rest of the bottom of the moon. So it's a tricky decision, to be honest.
Oh, and Rhybon takes the cane. Huh. So I imagine he's going to do the Ribbon Room first to better sling that cane.
That makes sense. I kind of like it. You know, with the party he's got, you really do want Val insurance. I mean, you know, Nuke and White are great until you're relying on Poison Axe Cecil to chop through 42,000 HP worth of Valvalis.
Yeah, and with the XP he's kind of gonna have to get for his current path, that cane will keep up.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you have a perfectly serviceable max party 4 party.
And I think before that, you would siren up some Warlocks, right? Keep the Cane, get the Cane really online.
You certainly could do that. I think Rhybon might just be in go 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 mode though. This feels like such a jet seed. Oh, interesting. He's veering off to the Crystal Sword altar first. And it's the Baron Guards. They're punchy here, but center slot stone should take care of them pretty easily.
Yeah, and Cane bites the dust.
Yeah, Rip Kane. Maybe he'll get the Ribbon Room Sling after all. Sand Ruby is indeed in a out-of-the-way purse place on the moon. Could go get ready now and learn that Leviathan summon.
I think that would be a bad idea, and that neither of our runners are going to do it. But you could do that.
Yes, a very unlikely play with runners this good, I would say. Oh, that's kind of rude.
Time to increment the medio count.
Yeah, I mean, the slingshot here for Kane is going to be a little disappointing.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. But hey, medio count 1. I love when, you know, one of the good options is just cast medio. Well,
Yep, it's always fun to get some player cast rocks. Vitasia through the giant, but he's faced with a kind of challenging situation now, being a bit behind in the straight line race in what seems like a fairly fast and linear seed.
it's all a matter of whether or not he feels behind. And he just might. Like, talking to him a little bit before the matchup, he definitely feels that he's the underdog in this one. I think he can still pull it off if, like, I guess if he guesses correctly that something up top, you know, if go mode is at the Murasame altar and he goes there before doing really anything else, also disgusting. This is Golbez. At least we have Venom and the right agility to cast it.
Yeah, if I saw correctly, this is the White Spear altar where he's actually not as threatening as he is most of the moon.
Oh, he's not threatening, he's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is if you end up with your Kane and, like, you know, Cecil as the two characters that survive, and then you don't have a quick way to actually damage him.
Yeah, sometimes you want him at the ruder spots if you're in a good position to be set up for him. Oh, throwing a life potion. Just having it all queued. He wants Hallam to do the job.
Yeah, I like it. I think that will get you through this fight slightly faster than the other methods.
Oh, did you see that? It's like there was he had the weird glitch where his menu came up after queuing the spell.
I did not notice that. So say you're in or you're in Vitasia's position. You feel like you've played pretty well, which I think he has, but you also know you're against Rhybon, who's one of the best, free enterprise runners there is. What would you consider doing here to try to create some divergence and maybe benefit from Rando?
Oh, the Mura altar. You do something silly. You have no reason to go to the Mura altar other than not having, and like, not having a reason to go to the Mura altar is a reason to go to the Mura altar.
Yeah, I mean, I like that option. I think it's probably between that and doing the objectives and then going back and chasing something weird that people normally wouldn't do. Maybe that harp, for example.
Oh, something turning, like if Vitasia goes out of his way for something and it turns out the magma key that Rhybon doesn't get, that would save Vitasia enough time to be competitive still, I think.
Yeah, that's a possibility. It sort of seems that Rhybon is going to be pretty thorough on the moon here. I don't know if he'll fade any of the locations if he hasn't found the key yet.
Ooh, I see a wall. Wait, he's reflecting Zerk? Or did he get the float up?
Not quite
Oh,
sure.
he reflected white and had Berserk right next to white.
Well, that sort of makes sense, but the attacker orb is probably not what he wanted it to reflect onto.
This is Plan Q with extra steps.
Yeah, it's definitely an aggressive play. I'm not surprised Rhybon is going with Plan Q. Setup is a little unusual on it, though. I think the more traditional approach would be sort of queue the Meteo and set up a wall so that you can reflect a bunch of spells after it goes off.
You also can just have fortunate globe targeting.
Yeah, I think this nuke should finish the job.
Also can on the floor again. This is max party 4, I suppose.
Yeah, well, not a big deal, really, if your ultimate plan is to do reflect strats. I think Vitasia's actually unfortunately losing some more time on this alt gauntlet due to not having the weak spell to sort of expedite some of these moon fights.
Yeah, and getting poisoned from... Where do you get poisoned from?
I think it's the punches on the bone dragons can poison you.
Interesting. Yeah, but being poisoned so you can't get the Zerks up as quickly. Very annoying.
Yeah. So Rhybon did fade the Mura altar, so that's an interesting choice that does crack the door open for Vitasia.
With how early the Darkness Crystal was, Papita, I would pretty much always assume that my opponent would have grinded before going to the moon.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is, a low-level party is not going to be able to beat this gauntlet and get their experience that way. If this was a flag set where hourglasses were available, it might be a different story. Yeah, I know I have a restreamed race floating out there somewhere where I fought that gauntlet at a somewhat low level, and it kind of gave me the business. Sparkle at the KQE spot, but it's just Plague, so the hook route would have been fairly fast.
Yeah? And it's gonna be even faster because he just nuked the Plague and stone the guards.
Yeah. And, you know, fading the Myrrh Altar is a little bit of a gamble, but I do think it's the odds play because you only need one of the Legend Sword, or, sorry, the Adamant, the Earth Crystal, or the Pan, and got a lot of relatively quick checks underground once you get there, including one that's an objective anyway. Yeah, Narrowcat, we were speculating that they might try to find the magma key up on the moon, but so far that has not turned out. Could still be at the Myrrh Altar, could even still be at the Twin Harp.
The thing about the Twin Harp Nets guy is that it's slow. Like runners, like there's the whole culture of Fade Twin Harp for a reason, and it's because it's slow.
Top of tower was Bahamut, I believe.
It's free.
Yeah, and certainly fast with Rhybon's party, but makes sense to do your objective first. Probably check the Feymarch freebie after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, Firebird Lover. There's not really anything left that we would care about at the top of tower. Even kind of Golbez and the Alt Gauntlet are no longer in the pool.
Is top of tower one of the spots where Valvalis doesn't get magic defense?
Yeah, that's correct. At the top of tower, she gets pretty good physical evade multipliers, but not magic defense. Steel Cave, on the other hand, she's just generally obnoxious, so that could be a slightly rude spot for her to show up and reward Rhybon for taking that cane.
Yeah. Could still be Ogopogo here. Very rude. Very nasty.
Yep.
Rubikid here is no slouch.
Yeah, more concerning when you don't have Nuke and White. Tail. Well, you don't hate to see it, but my guess is we won't even see Rhybon check it.
I hope it's an Avenger.
Wyvern is also a boss that can be very obnoxious here.
I think at this point, Cecil's fast enough that we can. Oh, we have Artemis arrows as well.
Yeah, we do have those hardy arrows we picked up from the Mad Ogres.
Oh, and without Meteo, these dolls are going to be painful.
Yeah, once again, Vitasia getting punished for not having checked the Baron in, I think.
I can't remember. Can the dolls still transition into Calbrena when they're sized?
Yeah, they can. You have to toad them to stop them or stop them. So the size here could be a little useful in the sense that it helps you finish them off at the same time by increasing the damage from your physical fighters on the back row, but it's not going to stop Big Doll from making an appearance all on its own.
Yes, Rhybon did skip the Murasame altar, so it could still hold something over Vitasia. I suppose the Murasame altar could still be required even if it holds the Earth Crystal gating the Pan, gating the Adamant.
Yep, that is certainly a theoretical possibility. And there is the Big Doll. Unfortunate. Vitasia handling it well, though, by just going after it with white. The Big Doll has a lot of health here, but you can slog through it. And yes, Pepita, that was the only moon check that Rhybon faded. Just a Magma Key in the Feymarch freebie, so not go mode yet for Rhybon. Probably gonna at least look at the bosses here.
Dude, Vitasia had 6 long swords.
6 long swords.
I think that's the most of a single item I've seen somebody have that wasn't bought.
You know, it's funny. I played a seed that had like 3 long swords in consecutive chests, so maybe they're just rolling weird. Rhybon deciding to go after the Feymarch bosses, even though they're not really particularly fast and free.
Where was the Luca key?
The Luca key was in Cave Value, so Vitasia should have it, I think.
Okay. Okay. I was a little worried that the Golbez that he just reset out of had it.
Yeah, you know, and the CPU is yet another fight where his party configuration is just a little suboptimal. I'm honestly a little surprised he's not just resetting out of this too, if he did out of the Golbez.
Maybe he feels like he can't have more than one Moon Fade because he knows Rhybon can clear it and would likely have cleared it.
Yeah, I mean that is reasonable. On the other hand, if you are worried about Rhybon being as good as he is, maybe that's a reason to even more aggressively fade things. Just a Gungnir from the turtle at the Queen of Feymarch.
That would be an upgrade if Rhybon had any intention of actually using the cane in his party.
Yeah, I think that cane is only going to get used if we find Valvalis.
And I'm betting with you know, taking the precautions, she's gonna be somewhere trivial like Tower Key.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I do think investing the time in these Feymarch bosses is maybe not an odds play for Rhybon. I mean, if you compare them to something like doing Dwarf, for instance, then they feel good. But you know, you've got 2K main checks in Lower Babel that would be just as fast. On the other hand, you know, if Rhybon feels like he's played this really well, I think it makes sense to do this to sort of just be careful and not leave something that might be hard required.
Did you catch where Rhybon picked up the magma key? Because if that's underground, Vitasia has to do that hook route, and that isn't his potential out.
Yeah, it was unfortunately sitting right there in the Feymarch freebie. But Rhybon has zonked out here now on both the Feymarch bosses, so that's a little bit of time maybe Vitasia won't invest. I like the tower check next. MP, a little bit of an issue, but we got some Ether 2s. And it looks like Vitasia has decided no for the Mer Altar today.
Interesting. I thought he would have, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough seed if you feel like you're the underdog of deciding what to do to try to, like, give yourself that little chance to get an edge. But the Golbez Fade does actually save him a pretty substantial amount of time.
Yeah, if Vitasia skips the Feymarch, he can make up some serious time.
Yeah, well, and to Sylvia's point in chat, getting an edge or getting an edge, either of those would be good, since at this point there's like a 50% chance edge is in the Tower of Zot, which is an objective. Let's see what's up at the top of tower here. Just
Just
the
a hat.
glass. Yeah, and this is probably the point where if you're Rhybon, you start getting nervous about the zonks.
About the songs, about the Mura altar, about the twin harp that you've had since like the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, those two things would be looming pretty large in my head. Although, I also think with how efficiently he's played this seed, he probably doesn't feel behind. Water Hag, a little bit of a nuisance here in the Super Cannon room. Yeah, I agreed, Keep Haunter. Definitely my least favorite place to see the Water Hag.
How much extra HP does Water Hag get so that to assure that you get through the script?
I am not 100% sure, but I want to say it gets like the full 65k.
It's not quite the full 65, but it looks like he gets like 45,000 extra.
Yeah, that is quite a lot. Now, the tower did not give Rhybon go mode, so he has a little bit of an interesting choice where to go next. Sheila 1, it's a freebie, it's a relatively fast check. I think that's probably the fastest he's got available to him, so that makes sense. This is yet another song. We might get music after all.
Yeah, vanilla earth crystal, always a possibility. A vanilla pan would be go mode for Rhybon.
Both the Pan and the Baron key are kind of looming large just because, well, the key items have to be somewhere. Ah, Vanilla Pan. That is go mode. Rhybon is doubtless very relieved to see it. It might make him feel a little nervous about those Fey-merge bosses, though.
Yeah, if Vitasia just collects freebies after doing this objective, he gains a ton of time.
Yeah, certainly. But it's it's pretty tough at this point. I mean, Rhybon's party is very well set up for reflect strats. Rhybon execution is excellent, so it's not over till it's over, but you can probably start tuning up the orchestra.
Yeah. Oh, it always feels bad having to walk out of a sealed cave.
Mm-hmm. And there's the adamant rock as well. Sheila definitely had the goods today.
It looked like he was gonna forge instead of turning in the thing. Dang it, Rhybon.
Yeah, no time today for silly things like trying to get crystal swords from the pink tail or bringers from Kokol. Oh, and Vitasia resets out of the wyvern fight.
Yeah, he mismenued a white onto his Cecil.
That will do it.
And there's the Earth Crystal.
Earth crystal as well. So everything was buried.
Vanilla pan required.
Yeah, everything was buried behind one check. I mean, if that had been Mura, then this could have been a very different seed. Yeah, I think the pass is probably the big reason to do the hand turn in. Although the Kokol cutscene might be just about the same amount of time anyway. Yep, good old dude, where's my whale? Rhybon has already sort of set up his party for the Zeromus fight, I believe.
Yeah, he moved his crystal ring around, dropped his battle speed to 3. He's not doing anything else but fighting Z.
Guess the only question left will be whether he pops into that save room. In chat pointing out something interesting too here, that if you had taken that relatively free hook route and just done your freebies immediately in this seed, you would have basically instantly realized you were in go mode. You would have probably been able to forge. I wonder if that might have actually been the faster path through this seed.
Maybe, because you can skip the completing the giant and the crystal sword altar. most likely, or that gauntlet in Cave Bahamut.
Yeah, and depending on what you get from foraging and from coke holes, your grind might be a bit faster too.
It looks like Vitasia is at least taking a peek at the Fey March. Hopefully he doesn't take a swing at it.
Yeah, I mean, the irony here is that he might think the bold play is to take a swing at it, and that might motivate him to do it.
Do you think that's why Rhybon did it? Because he thought Vitasia might try and swing it, and he was covering his bases, so to speak?
I do think that's a possibility. It'd be a great question for him if he joins us for an interview. Definitely one of the interesting things about these one-on-one races is like trying to map out, depending on, if you think you're the favorite or the underdog, what you might do differently or try to do to sort of cover your bases for what your opponent might do differently.
And I think Rhybon's naming scheme is calling on us to say something.
Yeah, it sure seems that way. I think the question is, who's gonna kick Zeromus' butt tonight, or something like that?
It's whose butt are we kicking tonight? Because Zeromus' sprite is randomized.
Ah, well, I was confused by the people doing the butt kicking's name tonight.
When I learned that if you queue up a white as like your first or second action, enough time the game does enough extra things that you can throw a nuke into Zeromus' face earlier and get the nerf from direct damage, it was game changing.
Yeah, it's always nice when it lines up like that, which honestly it usually does with most agility configurations. Anyway, this is pretty standard reflect strats. A very safe and efficient way of getting through the Zeromus fight most of the time.
Yeah, nuke white with 2 chemists and way more HP than you usually need for it.
Yeah, when you have 2,400 hit points on your Palom, you feel pretty good.
Does Rhybon see this big bang?
I have not been counting damage carefully enough to know, but I would guess not. There is the crumble.
And that makes Rhybon our first place finisher tonight. His record is now 3-0, going which will be very nice going into week 4. I believe his potential matches. I'm gonna look at that sheet and see who's for the standings. Who's at 3-0. The rest
Yep.
of his group.
First 3-0 person in the tournament, so congrats, Rhybon, on that.
And we are joined by Rhybon. GG.
Hey, Scar. Thanks. It was quite the scene. What's up?
GG, very well played, as always.
Thanks, Decker. It was it's a nasty little sketchy Mac Giant grind, but otherwise it came out pretty well. Pretty happy with the way that I executed.
Yeah, it was definitely at pretty low levels for a Mac Giant grind. We were kind of wondering if maybe the reason you lifed up the 2 slingshot targets was just to have a couple extra bodies to throw cure 2s.
At first it was, I'm gonna light these two up so they can maybe take a hit. And then I realized, oh, Cecil's covering them anyway. Well, I can at least trigger, Mac Giants, or I can throw a cured 2, and that's what ended up happening. But I was, my jaw dropped a little bit when I think Cecil took that second hit for like 500 damage. And I'm like, oh, I'm in danger. I need to be a little careful here.
Yeah, that was a higher crit than I was expecting too, given the gear you had on him.
Yeah, shields will go a long way, but unfortunately only a poison axe was for sale in Evelyn, not an ogre axe. Otherwise I would have snapped that up pretty quick.
You just had to grind more Mac Giants and get your ogre axes that way, right?
Yeah, or my cabins, which I think I never slept once this entire seed, outside of like sleeping on the whale. So camping gear remains in short supply.
Yeah, often seems to on these seeds for some reason.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I think some of the bigger decision points, overall, it felt like a fairly linear seed, but the decision to fade the Mura altar was interesting, and I thought the decision to do the Feymarch bosses was interesting. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on those choices.
Fading the Mura altar, it seemed like the right play just mathematically. And I'm not really someone who plays by math or anything like that in this game, but that is one K moon check. There were already a lot of key items on the moon that I had already found. I think I found maybe like 3 or 4 up there. So the likelihood of there being 4 or 5 is just low. There's so many key items back on Earth. I never did anything underground. I had an objective waiting in Luca Key as well. Like, Mura just seemed like a pretty safe fade, probability-wise in that situation. So faded I did. I also continued to hold on to the fade for Cave Magnet as well. Not that I dislike Harp, but it takes a long time, and I faded it for so long, I may as well keep it going.
Yeah, it would never be the case that 3 key items for objectives are all gated by one spot, right?
Yeah, that never happens for your freebies, kids.
Yeah, how did you feel when you saw that? Was it worrying because you had kind of put off the Sheila one, or were you just happy to be in go mode?
It was very worrying. I felt behind at that point because they Vitasia opted not to do a Mac Giant grind before the hook route. That hook route was not difficult. A plague into Baron guards, Kaipo guards. Relatively simple. Did not need Mac Giant levels for that at all. And then if you just happen to do Sheila, surprise, you're in go mode because they're the Pan and they're the Nurse Crystal, and you have your 4 objectives behind the Giant and 3 on the moon. So you could have definitely completed the seed in under an hour 20 and skipped so many checks that you did up on the moon if you wanted to. So yeah, when I found that, and I keep Discord minimized the entire time I race, I'm like, there's probably a dot done in there that happened like 15 minutes ago, and I'm just making Dekar and Scar and Pyre late for dinner. But I'm going to keep on playing just in case I haven't lost yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I eat before the stream. Don't worry about your race making me late for anything.
Well, it turned out that Vitasia routed this one very similarly, so you were just kind of ahead in a relatively linear path most of the way.
Yeah, it seems pretty difficult to skip on the moon when you have three objectives on the moon, one behind the giant. You have a relatively early darkness crystal. It seems like the play that most people would take is certainly the play that we both took. But in this, and I think mathematically it is the right play. But in that one chance where you decide to say, to heck with math, I'm going to just go underground, you probably come away with a much faster time to seed. That's
Yeah,
randomizers for you.
it sure is. Well, that's all the questions I had. Anything else, Scar?
Why'd you take Kane?
I took Kane specifically for Val Insurance. My offense was entirely white and nuke, and I'm walking down to the white spear, I'm walking down to the ribbon room. I'm walking down to the Crystal Sword altar. I'm like, if Val's down here, I'm going to look like a genius. And Val was not down there and MIA for the entirety of this seed. So Kane still, however, was just as effective and just as useful as Sid would have been for the remainder of the seed too. So, in fact, he probably got more turns.
Yeah, nothing wagered, nothing lost, I guess.
Yeah.
Not sure his getting more turns is actually a good thing, but yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, getting more turns, not exactly a good thing, but surprising though. Like Sid, I think he was like 52, 53. He was definitely up there after the giant was complete. And despite that, not a very useful guy.
Yeah, you even got to sling Kane off the dolls. Perfect, right?
Oh yeah, a little bit of Meteo worked out pretty well. I can't remember. I think it was Baron Guards up at Crystal Sword who denied him the sling there, so we gave him a mini sling instead.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
one other thing I want to note. You probably saw me pause before I went up to do Mac G's, and then go to Eblin instead, doing a lot of shopping on the overworld. I thought that mute bells had to be available somewhere on the overworld, but apparently that's not the case. The entire plan was to go up there with the rune axe in hand, kill a pack of warlocks with the only siren I have, get my level that way, and have a much safer and happier Mac Giant grind. But that never came to be. So lesson learned for me from this flag set: mute bells not guaranteed.
Yeah, mute bills are not guaranteed. The only guaranteed items are the sort of the safety check items: life potions, Thor rages, star veils, cure twos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and don't hit on dead bosses with a drain sword.
Ah, Seth's led plenty of HP. You were fine.
Yeah. Just training his HP, I guess. I don't know. Training his pain tolerance.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take off for the evening. Y'all have a great one. Dekar Scar, thanks for the comms. Pyre for rolling not exactly the difficult hook seed that you said you would, but a hook seed nonetheless. And Sheep Launcher for pushing all the buttons. Appreciate you guys for what you do, and I'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Later.
And Vitasia did take the forfeit, but it does look like he's queued to join us, and there he is. Welcome, Vitasia. GG. Well run.
I don't know about all that business, but I appreciate it either way. GG's to Rhybon.
Yeah, that was a challenging seed, I think. If you feel like you're maybe a little bit the underdog and you're trying to find a different way to route it. How did you approach this seed? Yeah, sort of knowing you're going up against the, you know, previous tournament champion.
Yeah, that's kind of always in the back of your mind. And I'm thrilled that I started out 2-0 in this tournament so far, but knew that I'd take a loss eventually. And when I saw Rybond, it was like, yep, okay, let's put on a good show. He messaged me when we were scheduling everything just to kind of like let me know. It's like, by the way, I ran your seed that you guys ran last week, and you would have beaten me by 3 seconds. And I appreciate that, I really do. But I knew I was behind the eight ball from the get go here. So it was one of those. As soon as I saw 4 moon objectives, I was like, well, we're going to go to the moon early. And as soon as I got the darkness crystal, it was get the free characters that don't require any time investment, get to blink, and just go. Um, and I think that is what did me in, because the characters that I just went with, it was kind of a full melee party, 2 white mages and Sid, who never, I mean, it's Sid. Sorry, Elvin. Um, Axes abound. I had so many axes, but no real decent weaponry for them. I just kind of got to overwhelming and let it go. But apparently there was a palom in that Baron Inn that I completely skipped over because when you face someone like Rhybon, you gotta let something go. So I was hoping it was nothing, and I think that palom probably enabled him to get through some of those bosses quite a bit faster than I was doing what was effectively just a zerk up and let it go grind.
Yeah, the bosses didn't do you any favors with where they happened to be in this seed and the party that you had chosen, I think. Dolls were really annoying. The alt gauntlet was much faster if you had weak. Um, CPU was faster if you're confident doing mages in YOLO mode, which Rhybon was. So, uh, definitely a little bit unlucky on that particular fade.
Yeah, and I that's the risk that you have to take when you face someone like Rybon. I cannot. He is just a superior like execution gamer than I am, hands down, and I'm not going to ever debate that fact. So if I'm going to ever have a chance at, I'm not going to beat him by out executing him. I have to beat him by uh, gambling my life away. And I made a couple gambles. I think I did really well. I think my giant grind certainly felt relatively clean, although I miscounted some health on the searcher. Um, Also, what I had no idea that charmed characters could life glitch for you, like from casting.
Yeah, neither did I. So that was a fun little demonstration of something that I don't know that we've seen on stream before.
Yeah, and I think they could probably do so infinitely, or for as much as mana as they have, because I saw the Porum life glitched the first Black Cat, and it was long after it had been dead, so a charmed character has access to just all the enemy slots, which
Yeah,
is
because
very interesting.
there were two different life casts that went off. Well, so it was just what the heck was going on. So I mean, I learned a little bit today, unintentionally, but
Yeah. Secret tech for a cat seed someday where you need to slingshot people off black cats, I guess.
it's like, yes, please charm me and just let me go to town with my white mages.
Yeah. Otherwise, pretty linear seed is kind of how I felt. The objectives push you to the moon, and then you got the Luca key up there, which kind of pushed to go there. So kind of a tough one if you're looking to create divergence.
Yeah, and as soon as you got that Luca key, you realized, okay, I'm at 5 of 6 objectives. I just have to find one, and I already had half of the forge, so it was literally just looking for one of 3 or 4 different key items to complete the seed. One of 3, and it really just came down to, okay, well, Feymarch has 3 key items, so let's go there first. Okay, Tower would be 2 key items, so let's go there next. And apparently the Rhybon had a very similar idea. We were talking about it. Um, so I was going to probably fade Dwarf Castle next. I was thinking, okay, whatever the Baron key is, I'll go there whenever I get it because that'll have multiple objectives. Plus, I'll actually check that spot then. Um, so I don't know. It felt like all the logical choices were very obvious. And at that point in the race, it felt like, okay, I'd already skipped enough. I just have to go with statistically the best option. And then I saw the dot done on my way to the tower. I'm like, well, I'm not even in go mode, so I must have done something wrong. And sure enough, Black Mage. So
Yeah. Well, also, Sheila 1 had basically all the goods today. Hard required. So that's always kind of fun.
yeah, thanks, Sheila. I appreciate that. But I mean, either way, this has been a fun and fantastic tournament. I'm not. This has been great. 2-1 is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm looking forward to whatever happens next week. I'm I don't know who I want to see win, but there's some other folks in my group who might be attending a certain John Con event going on over next weekend. So if that happens, maybe some live racing going on.
That would be really fun.
But other than that, thank you everyone for this race. I don't want to take up too much time because I know we're still rolling. Thanks everyone, and thanks for the restream.
Thanks so much, Vitasia.
Well, that was Vitasia. He honestly he played a lot better than he made it sound. He raced very well, and well, he just didn't have a black mage.
Yeah.
This is the end of Free Enterprise for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow. If you're a big Twitch fan like we are, the restreamed match tomorrow is going to be Douche versus Firebird Lover at 9 Eastern on this very channel. And if you want to join the Discord and join into any spoiler threads that pop up and watch the runners play, uh, there's a lot going on. Looks like we've got Flurry versus Lord Goober at 7 Eastern, Ikir versus Customer Service Loop also at 7 Eastern, Blues Clips versus Judge Joe at 9 Eastern, Tybalt versus Bard at 9 Eastern, Cubs Rule versus Kedril at 9:30 Eastern, and the late night match, Tall Grant versus Noob Tree at 10 Eastern.
Yeah, that is quite a lineup.
You have any final thoughts on tonight, Dekar?
Oh, not really. I mean, it was just a good race. I think both runners executed well, and Rhybon just kind of did so a little better. Got a little lucky with finding that black mage, and he's off to 3-0.
And we'll be rating out tonight to Possum Morpheus, who is playing Final Fantasy X for his stream anniversary. I think that's like at least worth 2.5 Final Fantasy IVs, right? If math plays out.
Something like that. Yeah, definitely worth sticking around. Should be really fun.